The sky over the border world of Zereth Prime was dark with clouds, the kind that seemed to warn of disaster. Far above, the Empire's massive warships cast long shadows over the barren landscape below. Hundreds of vessels moved in perfect formation, engines humming like a chorus of mechanical monsters. The Empire had crossed the border, confident in their strength. They had ignored the warnings from their scouts. "The humans are weak," their generals had said. "Their fleets are tiny. Their defense is laughable. We will crush them in a single strike." But on the human side, Commander Elara Voss stood at the edge of the high cliffs overlooking the barren plains. Her eyes were sharp, scanning the horizon. She had expected this day for years. The Empire had grown bold, arrogant, careless, and she had been waiting. She tapped her comlink and spoke to her lieutenants. "All units, stay alert. They think we are weak. Let them make that mistake." Elara knew that humans were underestimated across the galaxy. Other species saw humans as fragile, easy to destroy, but she had learned that humans had patience. They planned for the impossible and fought with cunning, using every advantage they could find. Today would prove it. In the distance, the first of the Empire's ships broke through the clouds. Its massive hull gleamed in the dim light, engines roaring like a beast waking from slumber. The alien soldiers aboard laughed and cheered. "No one can stop us," said General Kael'threx, looking down at the tactical map. "The humans are nothing." But not everything went as Kael expected. A faint signal appeared on their sensors. Strange energy readings, like nothing they had ever seen before. His assistant frowned. "Commander, these readings, they are not weapons, but they are growing in strength." Kael waved his hand dismissively. "It is nothing. Move forward. Show them the Empire's power." Meanwhile, on the cliffs below, humans prepared quietly. Elara's engineers worked feverishly, connecting energy nets across the narrow valleys, aligning their artillery, and testing the plasma pulse cannons hidden under layers of camouflage. Drones hovered silently above, invisible to the Empire scanners. Every piece of equipment had been carefully positioned for maximum effect. "Elara," said Lieutenant Marin Solis, approaching quickly. "The first wave is almost in range. They don't suspect anything." "Good," Elara replied. Her face was calm, but inside, her heart raced with anticipation. She had seen what overconfidence could do to a fleet. A small fleet of humans could destroy thousands if they struck in the right place at the right time. And today, she had the advantage. As the Empire's warships approached, the ground trembled. The humans waited, silent. The first alien vessels crossed the border, their massive engines beating like war drums. The soldiers on the surface cheered. "Forward! Crush them!" Then, without warning, the energy signature detected earlier exploded across the horizon. A shock wave rippled through the air. Sensors went haywire. Alarms blared. Kael's brow furrowed. "What is happening?" From the hidden trenches, human artillery opened fire. The plasma pulse cannons released bolts of energy faster than the eye could follow. Alien ships were hit directly in their weak points. Engine cores, fuel tanks, and weapon ports. The first ship erupted in a violent explosion, sending debris hurtling through space. The soldiers aboard screamed in shock. "What is this?" Kael shouted, staggering back from the control panel. "Impossible. Our shields are perfect. No species should." But before he could finish, another shockwave hit. A second warship vanished in a bright flash. Chaos spread through the Empire fleet. The soldiers had never seen anything like it. Panic spread, and the well-organized formation started to crumble. Elara watched quietly, letting the Empire falter. She had always known humans were underestimated, and this was her proof. Her pulse cannons were not the only weapons. She had traps, decoys, and hidden mines across the border plains. Every strike had been planned for maximum effect. The humans were not fighting blindly. They were calculating, patient, deadly. On board the Empire flagship, Kael tried to regain control. "All units, focus on target. Destroy them." But the human tactics were unpredictable. Small strike teams and stealth ships appeared where they were least expected. They disabled communication arrays and sabotaged supply drones. Entire sections of the Empire's fleet were cut off. This cannot be, Kale muttered, staring at the glowing map. They're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Back on the cliffs, Elara smiled slightly. She knew the Empire would not give up easily. They would send reinforcements. They would try to destroy her base. But she was ready. She had trained her team for months, anticipating every possible move. The humans had always thrived when facing impossible odds. In the chaos, one alien warship managed to break through the traps and aimed directly at the human command center. Soldiers scrambled to respond. "It's heading straight for us," one cried. Elara's hand hovered over the control panel. She pressed a sequence on the console, and suddenly, the ground beneath the warship lit up with energy nets. The ship was caught mid-flight, immobilized, trembling under the massive energy pull. Sparks flew across the hull, and alarm screamed. The human team watched silently as the massive vessel was dragged down and destroyed with precision. The Empire's fleet was in shock, their confidence shattered. Soldiers whispered about the humans' power, some even doubting their own commanders. How could such a small force create so much chaos? Kale slammed his fist on the table. "We will adapt. We will regroup." But the humans had already predicted their moves. Another wave of plasma pulses hit the rear of the fleet, cutting off reinforcements. Communication blackout spread across the Empire's lines. Confusion reigned. No orders could be delivered. Ships collided in panic. Engines overloaded, and entire divisions were lost in explosions. On the cliffs, Elara allowed herself a small sigh. She knew this was just the beginning. The Empire had crossed the border, thinking victory was certain. But they had underestimated the humans' patience, intelligence, and courage. Suddenly, her senses detected a new anomaly, a massive energy signature moving rapidly toward the Empire flagship. It was unlike anything she had ever seen. She frowned, curious but cautious. "Marin, prepare the observation drones. I want a full scan of that signature. Now." Marin nodded, her fingers flying across the controls. The image on the main screen revealed something shocking. The energy was alive, almost sentient, moving through space like a predator. It surrounded the Empire flagship, wrapping it in a glowing cocoon of light. "What is that?" Lieutenant Marin asked, eyes wide. "I don't know," Elara admitted, gripping the console. "But whatever it is, it's about to change everything." From the Empire's perspective, the flagship suddenly disappeared. Kale's voice trembled as he shouted orders that no one could follow. The crew stared in disbelief. Their leader, their symbol of power, vanished in an instant. Silence filled the bridge, followed by panic. On the human side, Elara felt the weight of the moment. She knew this would be a turning point. The Empire had crossed the border, ignoring every warning. They thought victory was theirs. But now, everything was going wrong for them. And the humans, patient and prepared, were just beginning to fight back. She turned to her team, her voice calm but firm. "This is the unexpected turning point. The Empire made a mistake. They crossed the border. They ignored the warnings. And now they will pay the price. Stay sharp. This is only the beginning." The clouds above swirled violently, reflecting the chaos below. Explosions lit the horizon as the remaining Empire ships struggled to survive. On the cliffs, humans worked quietly, efficiently, watching, calculating, preparing for the next strike. Elara knew the galaxy was about to witness something unexpected. Humanity, underestimated for centuries, was about to show its true power. And the Empire, they were about to learn a lesson they would never forget. As the sun dipped behind the mountains, casting long shadows over the battlefield, one thought echoed through Elara's mind. This was only the beginning. The real fight is yet to come. And somewhere deep in the wreckage of the Empire fleet, a faint pulse of energy, the same mysterious signature that had consumed their flagship, moved silently, waiting, watching, calculating. The humans had struck first, and now the galaxy would never see them the same way again. The remnants of the Empire fleet hovered above the barren plains of Zereth Prime, a shattered line of ships struggling to regroup. Smoke and fire trailed from the wrecks of their flagship and its escort vessels, painting the dark sky in streaks of orange and red. For the first time, the aliens felt fear. Fear they had never known. They were powerful, yes, but humans were unpredictable, cunning, and deadly. On the cliffs overlooking the battlefield, Commander Elara Voss watched silently. Her pulse remained steady, her eyes sharp. "They are trying to regroup," she said, voice calm. "But they don't understand the battlefield. Every move they make is predictable to someone who has already planned for it." Lieutenant Marin Solis scanned the skies. They're gathering strength. Some ships are forming a counterattack formation. If they strike now, it could destroy our forward positions. Elara shook her head. "Let them. They think they can strike first. Humans do not fight blindly. We strike when the moment is right." Far above, General Threx pounded the bridge of his new flagship. He was furious, his pride shattered. Destroy the humans. Every ship, every weapon. Obliterate them. They are only a minor species. They cannot defeat the Empire. But even as he shouted, doubt crept into his mind. The loss of the flagship had not only killed morale, it had shaken the very foundation of their confidence. The remaining ships moved with hesitation. Generals argued, blaming one another for underestimating humans. Some soldiers whispered that the humans' power was unnatural. Kale refused to believe it. But even he could not ignore the strange energy that had consumed his flagship. On the ground, humans prepared their first offensive. Elara's engineers checked the energy pulse cannons, their sleek barrels glinting under the dim light. Drones flitted above, invisible to the alien sensors. Mines were hidden across the plains, and human strike teams were positioned in stealth ships, ready to appear where the aliens least expected. "Elara," Marin said, pointing to a holographic map. "If we strike now, their counterattack will scatter. We can cripple them before they even recover." Elara nodded. "Exactly. Timing is everything. Wait for my signal." The Empire fleet moved cautiously, scanning for threats. They had learned to fear humans, but they still believed their numbers would win. They advanced, their massive engines creating shock waves in the atmosphere. Aliens aboard the ships whispered among themselves, fear mingling with arrogance. They had weapons unlike any humans could match. Or so they thought. Then, suddenly it began. A small fleet of human stealth ships appeared, seemingly from nowhere. They moved at incredible speed, weaving through the Empire's ships like shadows. Plasma cannons fired precise bursts at the engine cores and weapon ports. One by one, alien ships began to falter. Sparks erupted, engines overheated, and weapons misfired. The humans struck not with brute force, but with perfect precision. On the bridge of one alien cruiser, alarms blared. Shields failing. "We are under attack from all directions." Threx roared in frustration. "Focus your fire. Target the humans." But it was too late. Humans had already predicted this. Hidden mines, activated remotely, exploded beneath the largest cruisers. Massive hulls were torn apart in seconds. Soldiers screamed as fire and debris rained down. The Empire fleet was thrown into chaos. Elara watched calmly, noting every reaction. "Good. Keep them scattered," she said. "Do not let them regroup." Meanwhile, Kale realized something horrifying. The humans were not attacking randomly. Every strike was calculated, hitting exactly where it would cause the most damage. Supply lines were disrupted, communication arrays destroyed, and morale among the alien soldiers plummeted. "They are organized," one alien officer shouted in disbelief. "Yes," Kale admitted, his voice tight, "and smarter than we imagined." On the cliffs, Elara activated the next phase of her plan. The energy pulse cannons fired massive bolts at the remaining alien cruisers. The blasts were precise, targeting the weak points discovered by drones earlier. The effect was catastrophic. Entire divisions of the Empire fleet were disabled in seconds. Ships collided, engines overloaded, and debris blocked others from escaping. Suddenly, a massive alien dreadnought broke through battlefield haze, heading directly toward the human command center. Its hull gleamed with alien alloys, stronger than any human ship. The crew on the cliffs tensed. "Here it comes," Marin whispered. "This is our biggest challenge yet." Elara's mind raced. She had anticipated this. The humans had prepared a trap specifically for the dreadnought. She tapped the sequence into the control panel. Mines hidden beneath the planes erupted in a synchronized chain reaction. Energy nets, invisible to the naked eye, wrapped around the massive ship, immobilizing it completely. Sparks flew, and alarms on the alien vessel screamed. The crew inside panicked as their once mighty warship trembled, helpless. The dreadnought exploded in a blinding flash, throwing fragments across the battlefield. The remaining Empire ships wavered, some retreating in confusion, others colliding with each other in panic. Calthrex's face was pale. He had lost control of the battlefield. His soldiers whispered about the humans' power, their intelligence, and the strange energy that seemed to aid them. Doubt spread faster than any attack. Elara turned to her lieutenants. This is the first strike. The Empire is reeling, but they are not finished. They will try again. Be ready. They think they can counterattack, but we have already predicted every move. Above the battlefield, strange energy readings continued to move silently. The same signature that had consumed the flagship earlier was still present, invisible but powerful. It moved like a predator, observing the Empire fleet, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. Kale's new flagship, the last of his command vessels, tried to regroup and form a defensive line, but the humans were always one step ahead. Stealth ships struck from unexpected angles, disabling weapons and shields. Mines exploded where the aliens thought there were none. Communication was disrupted across the fleet, creating confusion and fear. One by one, Empire ships began to retreat, try to escape the battlefield. But the humans had anticipated this. Energy pulse cannons fired at the engines, crippling them. Smaller human ships blocked escape routes. The Empire soldiers could do nothing but watch as their fleet was systematically dismantled. Calthrex's voice was hoarse as he shouted orders that no one could follow. The humans had turned his own tactics against him, striking with intelligence and patience, rather than sheer force. The Empire, for the first time in history, was learning what it meant to be underestimated. On the cliffs, Elara's expression was calm, but her mind was sharp. She knew the Empire would send reinforcements from other sectors. They would try new tactics, new weapons, anything to regain control. But humans were ready. Every contingency had been prepared. Every trap, every strategy, every plan had a counter. Prepare for the next wave, she told her team. They will not give up easily, but they have made a mistake. They attacked first, thinking we were weak, and that mistake will cost them everything. As night fell over the battlefield, explosions continued to light the sky. Smoke and debris filled the air, but the humans moved silently, efficiently, calculating every move. They had struck first, but more importantly, they had struck smart. From deep within the remaining Empire fleet, Calthrex stared at the battlefield in horror. He had lost ships, soldiers, and now morale. Every attack by humans was precise, devastating, and unpredictable, and the strange energy that had taken his flagship still lingered, waiting. On the cliffs, Elara smiled faintly. She knew the humans had delivered a message to the galaxy. Underestimate humanity at your own peril. The Empire had crossed the border, thinking victory was assured. But after the first strike, everything had gone wrong for them. And somewhere unseen and silent, the mysterious energy moved. It had watched the humans strike with precision and cunning. It had seen the Empire crumble, and it had made a decision. The humans had won the first battle, but the real war, the one that would decide the fate of the border worlds, was just beginning. Elara looked out across the plains, her eyes bright with determination. We struck first. We struck hard, but this is only the beginning. The Empire will learn the galaxy has underestimated humanity for the last time. And above the battlefield, the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, as if the universe itself was watching, waiting. The Empire fleet was shattered but not defeated. Smoke trailed from the remaining ships as they hovered over Zereth Prime, engines flickering like wounded beasts. Soldiers whispered nervously about the humans, their fear spreading like wildfire. The humans had struck first, and they had struck hard, but there was something more, something the Empire did not understand. Commander Elara Voss watched from the cliffs, her eyes sharp. The humans had already claimed victory in the first strike, but she knew better than to celebrate too soon. The Empire would not surrender easily. They would regroup, adapt, and strike back with everything they had. Scouts report movement in the northern ridge, said Lieutenant Marin Solis, pointing to the holographic map. They are trying to flank us. Elara nodded, her mind racing. Let them try. We have prepared for every move. Keep our stealth units ready. I want every path covered. Far above, General Kale Frex paces new command ship. The loss of his flagship had shaken him, but his pride would not allow defeat. He barked orders to the remaining fleet. We will find their command center. Destroy it. Leave nothing standing. If we cannot win with strategy, we will win with sheer power. But the humans were never predictable. As the Empire ships moved, expecting traditional defensive positions, they were met with empty plains. Mines have been triggered in their path. Small stealth units appear to harass their engines, and plasma pulses struck where they had no shields. The aliens were forced to retreat yet again. This is madness, one alien officer shouted. They are everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Kale's face was pale. He had underestimated humanity. The humans were not only resourceful, they were intelligent, patient, and prepared for every scenario. Every trap the Empire tried to anticipate had already been countered. Elara observed calmly. Good. Keep them distracted, she said to Marin. Let them reveal their weaknesses. Let them think they are in control. The human stealth teams move like shadows, striking at supply lines, disabling engines, and cutting off communications. Entire fleets were left in chaos as small groups of humans appeared in unexpected locations. The aliens tried to fire back, but their weapons were slow, cumbersome, and often misdirected. On board the Empire flagship, Kale Frex struggled to maintain control, form a defensive perimeter, protect the rear divisions. But the humans had already anticipated that move. Hidden energy nets immobilized the rear ships, while stealth teams struck the flanks. Supplies were destroyed, communications jammed, and morale fell further. The Empire's soldiers, once confident, now whisper among themselves, fear replacing arrogance. Elara's pulse cannons fired again, striking with precision. Explosions lit the horizon, casting long shadows across the plains. The humans had turned the battlefield into a chessboard, controlling every move. Commander, Marin said, pointing at the holographic map. They are trying something new. A large fleet is moving toward the east. It looks like they are attempting to flank us with heavy cruisers. Elara's eyes narrowed. Good. Let them reveal their strength. I want to see everything they have. Prepare the counterstrike. We will hit them when they least expect it. Meanwhile, Kale realized something terrifying. Humans were not just using conventional tactics. They were unpredictable. Their attacks were calculated, their strikes precise, and their traps deadly. The Empire fleet had no way to anticipate their moves. Commander, one officer said nervously, we cannot defeat them with normal tactics. They are smarter than we imagined. Kale gritted his teeth. Impossible. They are humans. Primitive. They cannot. But he could not finish. Another explosion shook the fleet. A stealth human ship had struck the Eastern Division, disabling engines and weapon systems in seconds. Panic spread like wildfire. Soldiers abandoned their stations, collisions occurred, and entire cruisers were left drifting, powerless. On the cliffs, Elara allowed herself a small smile. She knew the humans had achieved something remarkable. They had forced a superior fleet to retreat, without facing them head-on. The Empire had met an enemy it could not understand, and fear was spreading among their ranks. Suddenly, a new threat appeared. From the distance, a massive energy pulse moved toward the battlefield. Unlike anything humans had seen, it pulsed with a strange rhythm, as if alive. The same energy that consumed the Empire flagship before it was returning, but this time, it seemed directed. Elara, Marin said, alarmed. That energy, it's moving fast. Too fast. It could hit both sides. Elara's mind raced. Prepare defensive shields. I don't know what this is, but it could be dangerous. Ready all units. The pulse moved with terrifying speed, striking the Empire fleet first. Ships were engulfed in blinding light, disintegrating almost instantly. The aliens screamed, their weapons useless. The humans watched cautiously, keeping their distance, ready to strike if necessary. Kael'Threx's voice was hoarse. What is this? No one had an answer. Even the Empire's most advanced scientists were baffled. The humans had no control over the energy, but it was clearly targeting the Empire. One by one, alien ships vanished, consumed by the unknown force. The fleet's morale shattered completely. Elara turned to her team. We have an advantage, she said calmly. Do not attack recklessly. Let the Empire destroy itself. We strike only when necessary. The humans had become observers as well as warriors. The mysterious energy was unpredictable, but it was helping them. It struck with precision where it was needed most, reducing the alien threat without putting humans at risk. In the chaos, Kael tried one last desperate maneuver. He ordered the remaining ships to converge on the human base, hoping to destroy it before it could deliver another strike. But the humans had already prepared. Mines, pulse cannons, and stealth teams struck simultaneously. Engines failed, weapons jammed, and the aliens collided in panic. The battlefield became a storm of fire and metal, with the Empire on the verge of complete collapse. Elara, Marin said, pointing at the horizon, they are sending everything they have left. This could be their final attack. Elara's face was calm, but her mind raced. Let them come. We are ready. They think they can overwhelm us, but they have already lost. The moment they cross the lines, they will fall into every trap we have prepared. And then it happened. A massive fleet appeared on the horizon, the last of the Empire's strength. Kael'Threx himself was aboard, determined to finish the battle personally. His flagship glowed ominously, bristling with weapons and energy shields. The humans braced themselves. But the Empire did not understand humans. They did not understand patience, intelligence, and strategy. As the fleet advanced, stealth ships struck first, disabling engines and shields. Mines exploded in perfect timing, creating chaos. Energy pulse cannons fired precise bolts at weak points. One by one, the massive fleet was reduced to debris. Kael'Threx watched in disbelief. Impossible, humans, how? Elara remained calm. They underestimated us, she said to her team. Every move they made, we anticipated. Every plan they had, we countered. And now, they will learn. Humans are never to be underestimated. Above the battlefield, the strange energy pulse moved silently, observing the humans, almost approvingly. It had aided them once, and now it seemed to wait, as if preparing for the next phase. The Empire had learned a hard lesson. Humans were more than fighters. They were clever, patient, and capable of defeating even the most powerful fleets without engaging in traditional warfare. Elara turned to Marin. This is only the beginning. The Empire has lost this battle, but the war is far from over. We must be ready for what comes next. The stars above seemed to shimmer brighter that night, as if the galaxy itself was watching. Humanity had struck first and forced the Empire to its knees. But the unexpected enemy, the combination of human strategy and mysterious energy, had changed the game entirely. The humans had won the first decisive engagement, but the galaxy had yet to see the full extent of their power. And somewhere, hidden within the remaining forces of the Empire, fear had taken root. The humans had shown the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated. And the Empire, they would never forget the day they faced an enemy they could not predict, could not understand, and could not defeat. The Empire had retreated, or so they thought. Smoke still curled from the shattered wrecks of their fleet. But their soldiers' fear was far from gone. The human forces on Zereth Prime had turned the border into a trap, a gauntlet of precision strikes, stealth attacks, and hidden defenses. Every ship they tried to send forward was destroyed or immobilized. The humans had proven their patience, intelligence, and deadly precision. Commander Elara Voss stood on the cliffs once more, watching the horizon with sharp eyes. The humans had struck first and crippled the Empire, but she knew better than to assume the war was over. The aliens were not finished. They were desperate, and desperate enemies were dangerous. Scouts report activity on the northern sector, said Lieutenant Marin Solis, pointing at the holographic map. They are regrouping. Some ships are attempting to form a new attack vector. Elara nodded. Good. Let them. They are still predictable in their desperation. prepare the pulse cannons, and deploy the stealth units. We will turn this tide even further." The Empire's soldiers whispered among themselves, fear mixing with frustration. They had crossed borders, confident in their superiority, and yet they had been beaten. Their leaders were gone, their fleet shattered, and morale was collapsing. General Kael'thrax, aboard a damaged command vessel, refused to admit defeat. "We will not lose," he shouted to his officers. "Humans are primitive, unorganized. They cannot sustain this fight. We will adapt, regroup, and strike back with everything we have left." But even Kael's own officers hesitated. They had seen the humans' intelligence firsthand. Every maneuver the Empire made was countered before it could even begin. Every attack led to more losses. The soldiers were starting to whisper that the humans were more than just clever. They were a force of nature. Elara watched as the Empire's fleet began to move again, attempting to regroup. But this time, she would not wait for them to make mistakes. The humans would go on the offensive. "Deploy the assault teams," she said calmly. "This is our moment. We will strike the remaining fleet before they can even organize themselves. Every weak point, every exposed engine, every weapon port, we hit it all." Stealth ships launched from hidden bases, weaving through the sky like shadows. Mines hidden beneath the planes triggered in perfect sequence, catching alien vessels off guard. Energy pulse cannons fired precise bursts at critical points. The humans were everywhere at once, yet nowhere obvious. The Empire's fleet was torn apart before it could even realize what was happening. On board one alien cruiser, soldiers screamed as engines failed and weapons jammed. "Shields down. Hull breach imminent." Another officer shouted, "They are too clever. How can a species so small do this?" Kael'thrax's face was pale. He had never faced an enemy like this. Numbers, weapons, and strategy all had failed against humans. They fought with cunning, patience, and an understanding of the battlefield he could not comprehend. Elara's voice was calm as she monitored the attack. "Excellent. Keep the pressure. Do not let them regroup. Every strike must count." Suddenly, a strange energy signature appeared on the battlefield, the same mysterious force that had consumed the Empire flagship. It moved with purpose, striking alien ships with blinding precision. The aliens had no idea what it was, and their weapons could not harm it. One by one, ships disintegrated under its power. Kael'thrax shouted orders that no one could follow. His fleet was in chaos, soldiers panicking as ships collided, exploded, or vanished in strange energy flashes. The humans were not only winning, they were unstoppable. "Elara," Marin said, her eyes wide, "that energy, it's helping us, but we don't know why or how. Should we try to control it?" Elara shook her head. "No, let it do its work. We do not need to understand it. We only need to strike at the Empire's weakness. And right now, their weakness is themselves, their fear, their arrogance, and their desperation." The humans advanced further, taking control of the battlefield. Small strike teams disabled remaining weapons, cut off supply lines, and disrupted communications. The Empire soldiers, already shaken, began to lose cohesion. Entire squadrons surrendered or fled. Kael'thrax realized with growing horror that the humans were not just fighting. They were rewriting the rules of war. "Impossible," he muttered. "They are organized, precise, and relentless. We cannot survive this." Meanwhile, the mysterious energy pulsed silently above the battlefield. It had destroyed ships, disrupted formations, and struck fear into the Empire. The humans, observant as ever, had learned to use its presence to their advantage, predicting enemy movements and striking with surgical precision. Elara surveyed the battlefield. The Empire's morale was collapsing, their fleet shattered, their soldiers disoriented. "This is it," she said softly. "We turn the tide completely. The Empire will never recover from this." As night fell, explosions lit the horizon, debris littered the plains, and the Empire survivors scattered in panic. The humans moved silently, efficiently, striking only where necessary. Every action was calculated, every decision precise. The Empire was losing not just ships, but hope. Kael'thrax watched helplessly as his final command ships were destroyed one by one. "This cannot be," he whispered, Humans, how can they be so perfect? But the humans were not perfect. They were prepared. Every strategy the Empire attempted had already been considered. Every trap, every feint, every attack was anticipated. Humans had turned the battlefield into a living puzzle, and the aliens could not solve it. Elara turned to Marin. Prepare the final wave. We finish this tonight. The Empire is already lost. We just need to ensure they never regroup. Stealth units moved silently through the darkness, targeting engines, weapons, and communication arrays. Pulse cannons fired, mines exploded, and alien ships disintegrated under precise attacks. Chaos reigned among the Empire's forces, and their soldiers began to surrender. Kael'Threx's face was twisted in disbelief and rage. How can this be? They are only humans. They cannot defeat us all. Elara smiled faintly. They underestimated us. They always do. And then it happened. The mysterious energy struck again, consuming the last of the Empire's heavy cruisers. The remaining soldiers panicked, scattering in all directions. The battlefield was quiet now, except for the sound of distant explosions and the hum of human engines. The humans had turned the tide completely. What had started as a desperate defense had become a decisive offense. The Empire had crossed the border, expecting easy victory, and had found only ruin. Elara surveyed the battlefield, her face calm but her mind alert. We have won the battle, she said, but the war is not over. The Empire will come again, stronger, desperate, and cunning. We must be ready for them. Above the battlefield, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if the universe itself acknowledged the humans' triumph. Humanity had proven itself capable of turning even the direst situation into victory. The Empire had learned, painfully, that numbers and arrogance could never overcome intelligence, patience, and cunning. And somewhere, hidden among the remnants of the Empire fleet, a new hope or new threat was rising. Kael'Threx would not forget this day, nor the humans who had turned the tide so decisively. The humans had claimed victory, but the galaxy was far from safe. The unexpected enemy, the humans, patient, clever, and deadly, had revealed themselves to the Empire, and the next battle would determine the fate of entire worlds. Elara looked out over the plains, her mind already planning for what was to come. We struck first. We turned the tide. But we must remain vigilant. The Empire will return, and next time, they will not make the same mistakes. The battlefield was quiet now, but the tension remained. Humanity had won today, but the war was far from over. And somewhere in the shadows, the Empire prepared for the next move, desperate, cunning, and determined to strike back. The humans had proven their strength, and the galaxy would never look at them the same way again. The remnants of the Empire fleet hovered over Zereth Prime, battered, broken, and trembling. Smoke rose from their shattered ships like ghostly pillars, and the fires of their lost vessels painted the dark sky red. The Empire had crossed the border expecting victory, but now they faced the full force of humanity's wrath. They had been tested, humiliated, and outsmarted. Their arrogance had led them here, and now they were about to pay the ultimate price. Commander Elara Voss stood once again on the cliffs, overlooking the battlefield. Her face was calm, but her mind raced. The humans had already won decisive victories, but she knew that the Empire, desperate and furious, would not surrender. They would throw everything they had into one final assault, hoping to crush humanity before it could strike again. Lieutenant Marin Solis approached, scanning the horizon. Commander, they are gathering their remaining forces. This is their last push. Their flagship, it's heavily armed, bristling with weapons. They plan to crush us tonight. Elara nodded. Let them come. They are desperate, and desperate enemies are the most predictable. Prepare every unit. This is the moment we end it. Humanity strikes, and the Empire falls. Far above, General Kael'Threx gritted his teeth. He had lost countless ships, soldiers, and officers, but he refused to admit defeat. We will not fail. They are humans, nothing more. We are the Empire. We will destroy them or die trying. But even Kael's own officers were terrified. They had seen their best ships vaporized, entire squadrons destroyed by precision strikes and unseen energy. The humans' patience and cunning had shredded their morale. Now, they clung to the hope that sheer numbers might still save them. Elara observed the enemy fleet carefully. They were attempting a massive offensive, converging on the human command center. But the humans were ready. Every mine, every pulse cannon, every stealth unit had been positioned for this exact moment. The humans had prepared for the Empire's final strike, anticipating every desperate tactic. Deploy the energy nets across the valley, Elara commanded. Stealth teams, position yourselves around the flanks. Pulse cannons, aim for their weak points. This is the last strike. Their end is near. The Empire fleet surged forward, engines roaring, weapons primed, soldiers screaming with a mixture of rage and fear. They believed that they could overwhelm the humans with sheer power. But as they advanced, they entered the trap. Mines exploded beneath the leading ships, tearing through engines and weapon systems. Energy nets wrapped around cruisers, immobilizing them completely. Stealth units struck from hidden angles, disabling shields and sensors. The Empire soldiers panicked. Kale Threx roared from the bridge of his flagship. Fire at will, crush them. But his orders were meaningless. The humans struck faster, harder, and with surgical precision. Ships collapsed under plasma blasts. Engines overloaded, sending vessels spinning into the void. Communication was gone. The Empire fleet had become a scattered, disorganized mess, trapped in a human-engineered nightmare. Elara watched calmly, noting every reaction. Focus on the remaining heavy units, she ordered. This battle ends tonight. Suddenly, the mysterious energy signature, the same one that had destroyed their flagship earlier, appeared again. It moved with terrifying purpose, striking the remaining Empire vessels. Shields overloaded, hulls ruptured, and ships vanished in blinding flashes. The aliens had no answer. Their weapons could not harm it. Their strategies failed, and their morale was gone. Kael'Threx's face twisted in disbelief. Impossible humans, how? They anticipated everything, muttered one officer, voice shaking. They are everywhere at once, and yet nowhere obvious. The humans had mastered the battlefield. Every strike, every movement, every trap had been executed with precision. The Empire fleet was no longer advancing. It was collapsing under the weight of human strategy and mysterious energy that seemed to aid them. Elara turned to Marin. Prepare the final assault. We end this now. The Empire's fleet is broken. Their soldiers are scattered. Their leadership is gone. Tonight, we show the galaxy the full power of humanity. Stealth teams moved silently through the night, striking the last remaining ships. Mines detonated, pulse cannons fired, and energy nets immobilized every major vessel. The Empire's soldiers screamed in panic as their final hope disintegrated around them. Kael'Threx tried to rally his remaining officers. We are the Empire. Do not surrender. Strike back. But it was too late. The humans were already in control. Every remaining ship was under attack. Every escape route blocked. And the mysterious energy pulsed again, consuming the last of the Empire's heavy cruisers in a blinding flash. The battlefield was silent now, except for distant explosions and the hum of human engines. The Empire fleet had been annihilated. Soldiers surrendered, some fleeing in escape pods, others hiding in wreckage. The humans had struck first, struck smart, and now they had delivered the final blow. Elara surveyed the plains. The Empire has fallen, she said softly, not because they were weak, but because they underestimated us. They thought arrogance and numbers could overcome intelligence, patience, and courage. They were wrong. Above, the stars shimmered brightly, reflecting the fires of the destroyed fleet. Humanity had shown the galaxy that it was no longer a species to be underestimated. The humans had fought with precision, strategy, and unity, turning even a desperate situation into a decisive victory. Kael'Threx stared at the horizon, defeated. His fleet destroyed, his soldiers lost, his empire humiliated. This cannot be, he muttered. But the humans had done more than win a battle. They had rewritten the rules of warfare. They had shown that intelligence, cunning, and patience could overcome even the greatest empire. And now, the galaxy would remember. Elara turned to her team. We must secure the border. We must be vigilant. The Empire may rise again, but they will never forget this defeat. Humanity has proven itself. Marin nodded. It's over for now, But the galaxy will remember today. And somewhere, the mysterious energy, the force that had aided humans and destroyed the Empire's mightiest ships, moved silently, watching, waiting. It had intervened once more, tipping the scales in humanity's favor, but it was not fully understood. Humans had survived, but the galaxy remained full of unknowns. The humans had won the war on Zereth Prime, but the story was far from over. They had survived impossible odds, turned the battlefield into their own, and defeated an empire that had thought itself unstoppable. The lesson was clear. Humanity was a force unlike any other. Elara looked out across the burning plains, her eyes calm, yet fierce. We have fought, we have won, and we have survived. But the galaxy is vast, and there are greater challenges ahead. Today, we celebrate victory. Tomorrow, we prepare for what comes next. The remnants of the Empire fled, broken and defeated. Humanity had risen from the shadows, underestimated no longer. And as the stars glittered above, the humans knew one thing for certain. The galaxy would never underestimate them again. The Empire had fallen. Humanity had triumphed. And the war was only the beginning of a legend that would echo across the stars.